Well, if you look at what's been happening since the beginning of last year, we have had over 200 gun and bomb attacks in Northern Ireland. We have had 2 police officers have been murdered. We've got other officers who have been maimed and seriously injured. And we have had over 30 police officers have been forced from their homes. In the background, apart from dissident Republican activity that the police have to deal with, we've got loyalist paramilitaries who are agitating. They have also engaged in the murder of other civilians. And we just believe that this threat that is still very much there in Northern Ireland is not being taken seriously. How can it be? Whenever, if you look at 12 years ago, we had 13,000 frontline full-time officers. Now we're down to 7,000 officers. And then we had 12,500 military supporting us in that role, and now we have no military support. So something's not right, and we've got deep concerns because the threat continues to escalate. As I said in my speech, it's severe, and we're very worried that there's no sign of that abating. Yes, it's very clear that if those recommendations in Winsor, and remember, he was forced to admit that some officers could be worse off by £4,000 per annum. If that happens in the context of Northern Ireland for junior constables within the service, I can assure you potentially that is signing the death warrant for police officers, because they will be forced to live in areas that are not safe. They need to be in areas that are in the safer parts of Northern Ireland where at least they and their families have some semblance of protection. But if they're forced to live in areas that are basically controlled by paramilitaries, their lives will be at great risk. And police officers are already at great risk, as we all know, as we've alluded to, and 24/7 they have to look over their shoulders. So why would the government want to foist these cuts on police officers and effectively leave them more vulnerable to attack? Well, I was deeply moved by the show of support and solidarity with the officers I represent in Northern Ireland. Obviously, after the brutal murder of Constable Ronan Kerr on the 2nd of April last, there has been an outpouring of support throughout the UK and indeed the world. And today epitomised that support, and I will certainly take back the message from this conference to the Police Federation of Northern Ireland people that I represent, that they are steadfast behind us here, and indeed our colleagues in Scotland and other parts of the world.